Numero uno esports. We started off the week with Chief versus Gelofeos Tosh. Obviously, obviously, one team had nothing to play for other than seeing what Jared Statham could do. Seems like a pretty good player, to be honest. I know it had been a minute since we had seen Jay Statham. I don't know where I was trying to go with that, but it went nowhere. Um, but Jared Statham shows that he can actually. I didn't know he could actually run. Dude looks kind of speedy. He can actually throw the ball. I mean, other than that, not too sure about it. I mean, he's winning 22 for 36, but he just literally just started, or literally just started, had his first start, 2 weeks ago? But in this La Vega system, but then again, he is playing with his former coach, so and with some really good weapons. So I mean, I feel like nobody can really that bad with all these wide receivers and a running back as in Joe Jacob, but the defense is horrendous. And well, they hadn't been so bad in the past couple of games, to be honest. But um, Chiefs, they obviously weren't really taking it easily because they needed that easy. Since they were needing that number one spot and they got it, obviously. One thing about their running game, um, their quarterback, the running backs, that situation for fantasy wise specifically. I don't know how it's like. How do you choose? Like, where do you go? You go Isaiah Pacheco, which for a little bit they were saying he's the starter. Then Jared McKinnon started murdering it. Literally the fast first or last couple of games, he's just been domination all over. And he could be one of those guys where you select in the later rounds of fantasy and be like, hey. But then again, there's also that Clyde situation. Clyde, and what if Ronald Jones starts playing some good ball, and he might make a case. But I don't know. I want to see a little bit more of harder thing to see. But well, I mean, it's the NFL. And this Chiefs running game is just all over the fucking place. You don't know what's gonna happen. But enough of that game. Trevor Lawrence and that's one crazy. Trevor Lawrence versus I don't know how I'm forgetting just Justin Herbert. My fantasy quarterback. I don't know how I'm forgetting my fantasy quarterback's freaking name. But yeah, both of them are. It's pretty much it is their first fantasy. It's their first playoff game. I'm all over the place right now. But their first ever playoff, and they're going at it against each other. I'm kind of shocked that they made it since it didn't look like they had a chance after they went. I mean, they did look good in the very beginning of the season, and then it just went downhill. I think they lost 6 in a row, and after that, I'm like, I mean, I don't know who would actually see them winning or overcoming that shit. I was thinking more like, hey, they're playing some good ball. They're gonna be good next season, and Trevor Lawrence has shown that he can play. Um, he has a little sneaky run game, and then he obviously he can pass the ball, and he's got running backs in Chad Etienne. Obviously, hasn't been as great so as of late, but still, he has those little glimpses, I guess you could say. Um, Maybe there's a different word I could use, but that's what was coming out, so I'm gonna fucking use it. Hasty's not too bad neither for a 49er guy. I believe it's for a 49er guy. Then you got them wide receivers out there, Kirk, Marvin Jones, Ingram. That they got a pretty good amount of talent, to be honest. And you got a quarterback that's pretty good, so might give somebody trouble, as in Justin Herbert and his squad. That might be the team that give trouble. Joshua Dobbs didn't look terrible, but man, this game had a lot of running, and specifically from them Titans, but they just didn't have enough because it was kind of obvious what they were gonna do, and if Henry didn't have what 200 yard game, they were like most likely not gonna. It was still close, but still you were needing much more, and just Dobbs was pretty much made some mistakes here and there. And then also the defense came up big for the Jaguars, so that was one other thing. I felt like I spent way too much just on these two shit. Well, not this one was actually important. The Jaguars game was actually important. But still, I feel like I spent way too much time. I'm not even talking fantasy. I'm still. Technically, I did speak. Technically, I spoke fantasy a little bit there. There you go. There's the time for 6 minutes. Keep going for a little bit longer, and we're gonna go ahead and call it. Let's say we go for another 3, and then we'll call it. Let's bring in a little bit of super speed out here. Ravens Bengals. Not too much there. It's another one of them games. If they would have lost, they would have had I think lost home field advantage or something. But the coin flip situation, all that baloney. Bud Mixon started off with a touchdown and flipped the coin and kicked that shit out the end zone. Him and the boys did, and they ended up getting that game. Looked pretty easy, even though that Ravens defense ain't no joke. And they should give somebody a problem. I think are they matched up together? I believe they are matched up together. I thought so. Oh yes. So yeah, they're matched up together. So I mean, if Lamar's going to be playing, I could easily see either. This playoffs is looking pretty nice, to be honest. Or the wild card, technical playoffs. I believe any team could win any freaking game. Other than okay, say if Tua does play, I could see them winning it. And 49ers, Seahawks. I could see Seahawks winning, but that's like the more favorite team should be 49ers, obviously. They haven't lost a game in a minute. I'm pretty sure they've won 9-8 in a row or whatever it is. Back to the regular season. Browns Steelers. Steelers were so close yet so far. With the last second field, well, I thought it was the last second field goal by. Man, was that the correct situation? I think it was the last second field goal or whatever it was, but I remember it being last second. The Dolphins just going up the field and just pretty much. Did they get a touchdown or is it just? I believe it was a field goal. But yeah, they got that going, and that was pretty much the end of that whole situation. And this, the Steelers, Mike Tomlin, MT, got himself 9-8. Never had himself a losing season. So yeah, ups to him, man. Ups to him. Vikings Bears. This was pretty much backup. The backup bowl. Pretty much the majority of these games were backup bowls, and a bunch of backups playing. Bills Patriots. There was a lot to play for, but the Patriots just didn't have enough because the Bills started off with, I believe it was an interception or pick six. Not 100, but I'm sure there was a pick six involved. And that Patriots offense just didn't have enough. At the very end, they did look like they were going to try to do something, but shit ain't working out for them. Buccaneers Falcons, there was nothing to be played for other than their quarterback, Rida. Jashimir Rida just getting some more playing time before next season starts, and I'm pretty sure they're going with him. Unless they decide not to go with him. I don't know what the hell are going on there. Panthers Saints, same thing. Nothing to play for since the Buccaneers was already in the playoffs. Taking coach, nothing also. Actually, the Bears game, there was something to play for. They pretty much had to lose to get a first round pick. Which they did get that first round pick. No, the Texans needed to lose for them to get it, and the Texans blew it. And Lovie Smith is out of job, and I believe that Queensberry, more like lose a job, Airy. Terrible joke right there. Also, somebody losing jobs is not funny. Even though I made a joke about it. But yeah, he's also out of the job from what I've heard. Even though they gave him an extension last year. But yeah, he's out. Commanders Cowboys. I believe there was nothing to be played for there. So yeah, that game was pretty much shit. Even though I don't remember Dak getting out of the game, he just had a terrible game. He better not do that shit during the playoffs because you playing comeback Brady, and I can see them winning it since the Buccaneers still have a really good defense. And I mean, Dak's been starting off slow, not finishing off great, but other than the Rams Seahawks, there was something to play for there. Seahawks needed, even though they needed these guys, the Detroit Lions, to do their work, but they're beating for them. Um, but yeah, Seahawks eventually came out and whooped some ass, I guess. At the very end, looked like they had gotten the game with the field goal. Then they had to go out there, or actually, the defense came out there and got himself an interception, forgetting pretty big amounts of stuff. But they eventually got that dub, got himself a playoff spot, but they still, like I said, still needed some help from them Detroit Lions and Jamal Williams. And that's exactly what they fucking did. Jamal Williams came out there and balled. Aaron Rodgers had too much of that Hashka stuff, Arawashka or whatever. He's probably gonna need some more of it after this loss to or from his former homie Jamal Williams. Aaron Jones had himself a fumble during that game. And just not enough from the whole team, to be honest. I mean, you could easily say that it was Aaron that lost him the game because he had that throw that was a pretty bad throw and had an interception on that. The defense at the very end couldn't stop the Detroit line. Detroit what? I think it was a third and some, or was it a fourth and some? It was one of those situations. I mean, Dan Campbell and the boys weren't really. They were just playing for the win, obviously. Um, Looked like a pretty scary team, to be honest. Next year, that offense, man, them probably need to stack it up a little bit more on defensive side, and you got yourself a team. Because you already got yourself a head coach, you got running backs, you got wide receivers, you got quarterback. You could do a better quarterback, but I mean, Jarouf, Jadegouf. He's not too bad. I tell you what. That Jared Goff guy is not too bad. Russell Westbrook. Uh, Russ. The Broncos, Russell Westbrook. I'm tripping. I'm on that Hiashka stuff that Aaron Rodgers on too. Um, but yeah, Westbrook and the boys, they came out there and balled, and I keep saying, Russ and the boys came out and got himself a dub against the Chargers team. And I mean, they've been looking pretty okay the past two games. I don't know what the hell. Obviously, Nathaniel Wackett is out of the job. Again, not funny when you're a person losing a job. That's not funny at all. But that's normal in the NFL. Plus, the guy's getting paid millions of dollars for getting fired. Like, fool, fire me, pay me $1 million. I take that. Shoot. Um, Eagles, Giants. I don't believe there was shit to play for, but there might have been. Was it I think there was a scenario where they would have lost their number one spot, Mini Tota, and I don't know. Forget that whole. That's I don't know. Forget that whole gabagoo because the Giants weren't obviously gonna take too many risks since since they already got their spot and there was nothing was gonna change for them fools. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today's sabotage. End of season.